Today I'm thrilled to welcome Kris Reid from Ardorseo to the show. Kris, as his company name might suggest, is an SEO expert. And he does seem to have a fairly amazing book in the pipeline. It's not out yet, but it is going to be out soon. And I've been blown away by Kris's content in the past, so I had to get him back so that we could have a chat and hopefully learn a little bit more about SEO. Kris, a very warm welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for the intro there, John. Great to be back.
For anybody who doesn't know you, perhaps you just give us a minute or two and explain a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Kris Reid, originally from Brisbane, Australia. Was a software engineer for many years, working all around the world, mainly in Europe. But eventually stumbled upon the internet and found digital marketing to be my passion. Founded an office first in Davao in the southern Philippines, and now have a second one here in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, where I am currently. And we've been growing like wildfire over the last couple of years. It's been fantastic.
So you when we spoke last week, you explained you've been spending a lot of time and working really hard on this book. So let's just hear, what the premise of the book is about, because what I would like to do is to then just, step through some of the chapters and understand, exactly what you're putting together.
Yeah. So the book is, there's quite a few SEO books out there, and man, are they boring to read. It's like, I love SEO, I love digital marketing, and I thought, well, it should be a way to be able to express it that is interesting and keeps people's attention. It doesn't have to be that difficult. People get overwhelmed with the options because there's so many different things you can do. How many keywords should I pick? What keywords should I target? Well, I've tried to push it together so it's simple, so that whether you're brand new and you just found your website yesterday, or whether you're a seasoned veteran, you should be able to get some good tidbits there to move you forward and, not feel overwhelmed. And each chapter has some actionable steps so that you can get some value.
Right. Yeah, and I can see, just looking at the list of contents, that that is definitely going to be the case, because you've broken this into two parts, haven't you? You've broken it into sort of technical chapters, and then you've broken it into stories. And I love stories. Stories are always what really grabs the attention. But let's just take a look at the technical chapters, and perhaps you just step me through and explain the logic. I mean, there are 11 of them, but there definitely seems to be a thread and a sequence and a logic to it. So perhaps just quickly take us through the structure and explain why you've set it up like that.
Yeah, so we start off with the story chapters, and so that kind of talks about me and my history into digital marketing, so that people can understand where I came from and why I do things this way. So it's not just who is this guy. It's that I show you that we've developed a plan, and through trial and testing, and this is what works, and why you should listen, and hopefully you will. And then we get into the technical chapters, which again try to keep things interesting and not be dull and boring. And so we start off with trying to know your customer, which might sound easy, but it can be very difficult. And whether your target customer is a 20-year-old male or a mid-40s housewife, your content needs to be different, your images need to be different. Heck, I was just looking at a mortgage site for a customer in Australia, and one thing I thought about the images, that they don't look very Australian. The pictures looked kind of Americanized, and well, that's not going to build trust for an Australian. So it's really important to know your customer. Then keyword testing. What keywords work? What keywords are valuable? Where should you spend your energy? Content architecture. So this is how you plan out a website. That's one of our more technical chapters, but it's really important. And that lays out your plan for how you should build your content, both in the site structure and for a blog. Then content creation. People generally hate writing content and making content. We have a fabulous content team to do that for our customers because they generally don't want to do it. Where this tries to outline some ways that you won't be bored to death. Most business owners are passionate about what they do. That's why they got in the business. So let's find some ways for you to show your passion without going, crazy. Then we got analytics. So that's how you monitor what's happening on your website, where people are coming, where people are leaving, where people are converting. So you can really see what works and what doesn't. What do your customers want? Then we talk about authority and why that's important and how that works. Then an authority plan, so how you can build authority, and that goes to. Sorry, can you hear that noise? We got an election in Cambodia.
Oh, right.
So
we got an election here, but fortunately I live in the rural sticks.
We got tuk-tuks driving past, blaring music. Yeah, vote for me.
Oh, that's cool.
So sorry about that.
Don't worry, we're all part of life's rich tapestry.
And so a content plan of how to build your authority and boost your rankings and boost your credibility. Then our chapter on Get Optimised, which is another rather technical chapter on how to do the tweaks and things, which can get a bit nuts and boltsy, but it's important to know as well.
Yeah.
Reputation engineering. So this is a difference between reputation management. Reputation engineering is about presenting the story that you want to be said. So when people might not know your product, say you invented kitten mittens, and someone goes, wow, that kind of looks cool, let me Google kitten mittens. Well, you want to make sure that what is presented to them is what you want them to see, and so that they go, wow, kitten mittens look amazing, I better buy some. Then the basics of rank tracking and how that's different. Often people will search Plumber Sydney and they'll see their website ranks really well, but they don't understand that Google's manipulating that search because they know you like that website. So there's a few different tweaks like that. And then the last chapter is on site migration. This is if you've got a brand new site, built a new site, you want to move your old site to there, or if you've done a new content architecture and how you change to the new architecture without destroying your rankings. So again, another technical chapter, but very important once you need to implement these things.
Okay, so we've covered the technical aspects and we covered the storyboards, but let's do a little bit of a deep dive and help people to get started with chapter 1, which is all about knowing your customer. Because what I want to do is give people a real flavour of really your expertise and how amazing this book's going to be, because I know it's definitely on my wish list. I shall be putting it out onto the Amazon wish list as soon as I see it come up. So perhaps you could just explain, what you cover in Know Your Customer and try and share, maybe not everything, but try and share some of the advice that people can then start to think about how they should go about knowing their customer.
Sure, John. Knowing your customer can be quite easy for businesses that like a cafe or something, because you see them come in every day and you get to know them. But especially people that sell products online, it can get really tricky. Who's your target audience? Just like I mentioned, the mortgage broker with their stock images are not very Australian looking. It's not going to appeal to the market. Where if they Australianize it, it'll have a whole of a lot better conversion. But that means the same as if you're whether you're speaking to an older or younger audience, a male or female. It's really important to try and get an avatar of exactly who you're writing for. And you can do this by, as a new business, it gets really quite difficult because you haven't had any business yet. But as an established business, where you can try and use questionnaires to get to know people, do a little bit of an exchange for information for an offer. It's like if they've bought something from you already, they have some trust, so you can get to know them a bit. I mean, heck, what we're doing for customers at the moment is handling testimonials for them. So we actually call their customers for them and do a little video interview and go, why did you choose company XYZ, and how was it? And so that's really getting to know your customer on a personal level. But it's super important to try and work out exactly who you're selling to and who you're providing your service for.
But I mean, people talk about, creating avatars. I mean, is that something you advocate, an outline, a sort of detailed outline of the sort of person who's your ideal customer?
Yeah, and ideally it should be someone that fits your character as well. Like there's a little young SEO prodigy who's a friend of mine, and he's in his early 20s, and so he appeals much better to millennials than I would. Where that's fine. You want to do business with people you like doing business with, and as a mature adult that I am. It's
so I don't have a chance. I mean, let's be honest.
But I appeal to my range. I mean, as we've grown, and not every customer has directly spoken to me. I do notice that they're much broader, because all the customers that I brought on are people that relate to me very well. They're like heard me somewhere or something, go, he's a cool guy, and we get on really well, and boom. And so it's. But do you have
a framework of I'm very sort of list driven, and I like to have frameworks and checklists, and because that means I can see it in my mind. Do you have a framework where you say age, education, occupation, boom, 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 and you sort of build it up like that? Or are you trying to say, oh, well, I was dealing with Fred. Yeah, he's a pretty good typical customer. Or Wilma. Let's keep the Flintstone thing running for those of you who remember the Flintstones. Or Wilma, she's my ideal customer. And then
Betty was always the cute one, right?
Well, yeah, very good. So how? What approach do you take?
Yeah, certainly the more information that you can have, the better. Like, if you can work out what's their average income, then that's fantastic too, because then a price point too. If someone's got $500 disposable income a month or $50,000 disposable income a month, well, they're certainly after a different price point. And so, the more information you can get, the better. But that does get intrusive too, and it depends on each business. So the chapter does go through the different methods you can use, but also how important that is. If you're a cafe, you want to be all like hip if you're going for the millennials. You want to be a bit more sophisticated if you're going for the older crowd. The difficult thing about writing a digital marketing book is that every business is different, and they're at different stages. Are you established or are you just starting out? Have you even tested the market? Like in our testing keywords, well, that is really excellent for someone that's new. It's still important for an established business too. It can save a lot of time and energy. A keyword that you think might be good, but it's not. But, it's really pivotal for someone that's new. And you can even test it before you build a product. You might think I could invent XYZ widget and it's going to be the best thing ever, and then you spend 2 years building it and no one wants it. Where you can test out the keyword, build a landing page, and see if it clicks and converts. Yeah, great, cool. People there is some demand there, and away you go.
But how? Just sort of keeping the focus on the customer. How do you promulgate that information around a team? Because if you've got all the information in your head, but how do you help your team to understand who your ideal customer is?
Yeah, that in itself is very difficult. We have a brand new customer liaison person that's just started, and I've been spending the week going through. She's been joining me on calls and handing over customers, and you'd really want, especially bigger customers, bigger accounts. I'd try and tell her, this guy's Australian and he's a bit, funny, so you can have some jokes with him. Oh, this guy's a serious British guy, so you need to be all stern. So, to propagate that sort of information throughout the team of actual real customers is difficult. Of who your customer avatar is, that's not so hard. Our customers, we don't generally know who they are, but we help them build a customer avatar so that we know, our content team know who we're writing to. so that we even know if we're writing, should this be formal? Should this be like, if it's a law site, it's like, what level of English should it be, and the tone. Where some websites want to be funny and interactive and keep the owner's persona. Like I was just actually speaking to a customer today who have a brand new website, and he said, "Oh, can you help us with the content?" He's like, "I wrote all the content for our last site and it was amazing, but I just can't do it anymore. It's just so draining. It's like pouring my heart and soul into it." And he said it converted great, but I just can't do it. And I said, "That's fine. Just tell us what you want and explain, your, like I was saying, he closes customers because they like him." And so we kind of build a persona on him and who he's speaking to, then provide that to the content team, and they try and write in his tongue.
Mm-hmm. And can you take, because I've been looking at Facebook ads the last week and learning a little bit about how they all work. And you can, when you're trying to design an audience you want to market to, you can talk about geography, you can talk about age, you can talk about gender, and you can actually get very specific in Facebook. I don't know so much about Google, but is this something that you can then directly apply to your marketing by saying, okay, so this is my avatar and I'm going to try to design an audience based on my avatar in Facebook?
Yeah, Facebook is scary, the amount of information they know about you. So yeah, marketers can really niche down. And, it's amazing because it'll show you about your advertisements when you use Facebook. And you'll see one image like women click on a lot and men don't. And, it's like, it's amazing the difference. And so then you can have completely different campaigns for men and women, and your cost per click goes down dramatically. And Facebook's a great way of testing out what works and what doesn't, because you know exactly who people are. Google does not have the same amount of information.
Right.
They have an idea. If you're logged into your Gmail account, they know some basic information, but they don't know if it's true or false, or where like Facebook know absolutely everything about you.
And could you sort of reverse engineer your ideal customer, or at least confirm things about it by, if you run some campaigns and then you see what converts with whom, and you can say, well, actually, I thought my demographic was 30 to 40, and actually I'm getting much more response from millennials. No, they are 30 to, no, they're in the 30s, aren't they, millennials? But, either getting from the generation X or Z or whatever they're called.
X and Y.
Down the bottom, or you're getting people like me, who are sort of one short step from the grave, and understanding effectively getting feedback and confirmation from your advertising.
Well, that would certainly be right. You can test that great with Facebook. Using Google, it's a lot harder because, like AdWords, you can't. Well, you can set in some criteria, but Google just doesn't have the same information, so you can't really just target 45-year-old stay-at-home mums that love yoga. It's like where at Facebook you can.
So when are you hoping to get this book into the shelves?
So I've been working my butt off on this thing for over a year now. It's just going through the final editing stages, really trying to mash the content down as much as possible, keep it as short as possible so people don't drown to death or go, oh my God, that's so boring.
Sure, they won't do that.
Well, no, it's designed to be fun and engaging and get the point across and keep you awake. But yeah, it's still a couple of months off, but it'll put it on your Christmas list and you'll certainly get it then.
Brilliant, excellent. And Kris, where can people find out more about you?
Well, they can go to Google and type in the coolest guy in SEO, and they'll see my pretty face everywhere. And it's
Kris, Kris Reid, isn't it?
That's correct.
And your company is Ardor, Ardor.
That's correct.
Brilliant. And the website is ardorseo.com?
That's correct.
Brilliant. There you are. I see, I've done my homework. Excellent to talk to you. I'm really looking forward to this. I think I'm going to learn a massive amount from it, as I always do when I talk to you. Because it's the best thing about interviewing people is you can ask them all the questions you really want to know the answers to. So I've done that today, and I hope everybody else will enjoy it too. So Kris, great to see you again. Really appreciate your time. Really enjoyed hearing about the book, and really looking forward to reading it.
Awesome, John. Thanks very much.